Hello friends, I hope I find you all well, and welcome to another reading vlog, where I will be reading books inspired by a playlist that I made that I'm very proud of. So let's get into it. So to catch you up, I have a playlist called This Vibe, which is a curated playlist of kind of like hyper pop, girl pop music. Very specific taste in music, okay? I will talk more about the playlist later, but the reason I came up with this is because I heard about a book at the end of last year that had the title 100 Boyfriends. And I was like, that's funny because I know this song from this playlist that I made that I really like that's called 100 Boyfriends. And then that sparked the idea in my head of like, what if I find other books with the same names of songs from that playlist and then read those books in like a themed reading vlog. So that's what I'm doing today. I've already started this one and I will play you a little clip of each song in introducing the books. This is the first one I'll be reading for this vlog. Then I'll be reading Rape, which is the only book on this list that's not queer. There's also a song on the playlist that's called Ripe. Then I'll be reading Time is the Thing a Body Moves Through by T. Fleischman. The song this is inspired by is technically called Body Move. But I also wanted to pick up books that I was like genuinely interested in reading. So this one has Body Move in the title, but not the whole title. And the last book is a queer poetry collection called Dear Azula, I Have a Crush on Danny Phantom by Azula Tiabji and Jackson Neal. The song is called Danny Phantom and it's one of my favorites on this playlist. So, I started this yesterday. This is 100 Boyfriends by Brontes Purnell, and this is also published by St. Martin's Press, but the specific copy is by Cypher Press, and I will link down below how you can get this book directly from Cypher Press, both digitally and the physical. So I originally thought that this was a non-fiction book, like chronicling the story of Brontes Purnell's boyfriend's experience, hookups, all of that. I've heard it's like raunchy and detailed in the sexual exploits, and that's the short story collection. I was wrong on some of that. It is a short story collection, but it is fictional. I think maybe the first short story was real from his life, but I'm not completely sure. The other ones I think are fictional. Maybe there's some sprinkled in there. I'm assuming he gets his inspiration from somewhere. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. It's actually a really quick read. I did decide to start this yesterday because I was not feeling up for filming. I've been feeling very irritable lately, so I decided to start it. But yeah, it's a very quick read, surprisingly. Usually I like to take my time with short story collections because it takes energy to shift your focus onto a new story all the time. But this one's almost like it's so many and they're so short that you just keep reading it. And Purnell writes in this way that's very easy to read, and some of them are more like vulgar and everyday language, and some of them are more poetic, and some of them are more emotional, so they vary quite a lot in the energy that each short story gives. Some of them are many pages long, some are literally just a paragraph, and it's super interesting so far. I have two that I really loved. One of them was called Damn, a Lover Comes Home to Die, which was just very emotional, and also I just related to that short story a lot, so that's why I really liked it. And then another one that was just really funny was this one, Boyfriend Number 666, The Satanist. It was just so well written. I think he's great at ending a short story. The ending is really good and it just flows and the writing is really good and I'm actually really enjoying it. I did not think this was going to be 100% for me. Pun intended. The organization is a little messy to me. I don't really understand the formatting. I'm excited to see how it turns out. I also started a little boyfriend tracker on the back. So every time a new boyfriend is introduced, I make a little tick because I want to see if there really are 100 boyfriends in this or if Brontes is lying in the title. Some of them are a little bit, this is how many I have so far. I'm on page like 75 and there are, 21 boyfriends and 3 maybes. So let's stick around to see if there really are 100 boyfriends in this. I'm really excited about it. This reading vlog is gonna span like a week, I think. It might be quicker for me to read these books. I'm really excited about it because I've been planning this reading vlog for more than half a year. I just have not gotten around to reading it and being in the mood to film it and also talk about the playlist. I'll do some fun stuff with the playlist, and this is the playlist. I will now play you 100 Boyfriends.
Hello, it's Becca Ellis again. I'm so rude.
And you like it.
You think
I invented.
I'm your teacher. You're suspended. I'm harder. You're offended. How you feel to be lying awake. Always on your phone, just stalking my page. What's your deal? What's your deal? I'm stuck in your head.
I got 100 boyfriends. Okay, that was a little sneak peek of that. I don't know how much I can actually include, but I thought it'd be a fun addition.
I want to dive right into the deep end here and start with the big headline of 46, which is Maria's
bring a child into the world.
Yeah, and also because some of the
Friend, wannabe husband, where OP says it's not.
So, I haven't actually been reading more today, just errands and laundry. And this is coming home from work soon, so I have to figure out what to make for dinner, and we're trying to eat healthier, so maybe I'll make something new, but I don't have that much time to decide what to make. Could make regular pasta. I feel like maybe I have the capacity to make something fun. So now I'm just scrolling through Pinterest to find some inspo. Bean soup. It's been like oddly cold for being summer. It's gonna be warm again on Tuesday, which I'm very excited for because I'm ready. I got 2 new like dresses, kind of, and I'm very excited to wear them, and I haven't been able to yet, including new slippers. And I haven't had like a new pair of slippers in ages. So, hot weather, yes please. Tomato, basil, butter beans. Maybe I can do like regular pasta with like gnocchis instead. Don't have time to make my own gnocchi, but I could buy some. Could be good. Okay, the short story that I just read makes me very confused about my boyfriend count. Because the main character did not have a boyfriend or anyone he was sleeping with. There was a roommate through the walls that he heard having sex. That could be one boyfriend. And then there was another roommate there and roommate's boyfriend. So that short story could technically count as 3 boyfriends, but it's not our main character's boyfriend, which is where I'm getting tricked up on my boyfriend count. But I'm gonna say 3 maybe boyfriends on the boyfriend count. Don't give up on me now. Sure, that will help. Okay. 5 maybe boyfriends. Are we gonna count our main character as a boyfriend in this one? I'm not really a boyfriend to anyone. Didn't really like the short story I just read. It was rather long, and I'm not sure I really got it. It's very like, there's no filter to these stories. On the sex front, there's a lot of drugs and alcohol. Also weird stuff, like the one I just read had attempted suicide in it. And like the response of our main character is just like, could be triggering. But it's just all kind of like bizarre. And some of it is very lighthearted and some of it is very deep. There's usually undertones or like themes around like class or race or mental health struggles. A lot of different things woven into these stories. Like, there are lots, but because they're told, most of them are told with like a fairly casual tone, they're easy to consume. And I'm still enjoying it, even though the last one like I didn't really like. The next one is called Hooker Boys Part 2. There was Hooker Boys in the beginning. Just very unfiltered. We're missing forks.
Can you vouch to this audience that this is a glass tank full of water?
Good morning. I feel like I've woken up on the wrong side of the bed the last 3 days and just been like very irritable, which is annoying. And I feel like it's a little the same today. We'll see how the day goes. Had this, as made a smoothie. Oh, which is nice. And they're gonna work out outside for a little bit, and they're gonna text me when I should start making breakfast. So I thought I would read until then, so that when Haddis is done, breakfast is ready. Then Haddis is gonna be cleaning, and I'm gonna be working at. I think. Let's see. I'm gonna finish 100 Boyfriends today. We're also going to be viewing a place for the Queer Bookstore Cafe, which is fun. I wonder how did this working out is going. What word are you gonna pick today?
Do you want to take a guess?
Here.
Wait. Okay, guess.
Well, now you're not gonna choose Saint, even though you would normally choose Saint. Are you gonna go for Cruel? Saint. Cruel. Howdy.
So today we're going together to the dentist because we have a communal cavity in the communal tooth of ours. So that's very exciting. I've never done that before. It's the first time I go with someone to the dentist to get a communal tooth fixed. Not sure how that procedure works, but yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
No, we're going to look at a place for the Queer Bookstore Cafe, and we feel hopeful. Oh, look at him. Oh, that's very cute. Yeah. So, I finished it. How many? I counted 36. I counted 36 boyfriends. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 35 unofficial boyfriends. Unofficial boyfriends as in like just hookups or like side characters who are like boyfriends with each other, but not with the main character of each story. So 100 boyfriends doesn't actually mean there's 100 boyfriends. You could technically get up into 100 boyfriends if you count the main character or narrator of every single story as one boyfriend. Altogether, it could be 100 boyfriends, but not exactly. I wanted exactly 100 boyfriends. 100 boyfriends is mentioned twice in the text. One time one person is thinking just 100 boyfriend, I say in deep thought. Just thinking about his 100 boyfriends, I guess. And in another part, someone is saying, perhaps the worst was behind him. The 100 men he had left behind were still behind him. And those were the 2 times 100 boyfriends or 100 men were mentioned. I enjoyed it. The last one that I really liked that I hadn't mentioned to you was called Boyfriend Number 100, The Agent. It was good. I enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5 stars. Like the majority of the stories were around a 3 star. I didn't feel like all that impacted by the stories, but it was like so easy to fly through, especially for a short story collection. I just enjoyed it. It was an easy, fun read, but it also has a lot of substance. I would definitely read more by Brontes Purnell. I think like reading the author description and stuff, like he is an artist, dancer, actor, musician, and a lot of the main characters in this are that as well. So I think a lot of it is like pulled from his life, which is cool. Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. The sun's coming out. So I thought it'd be fun if I did this thing where I would find one line in the song that best describes the book. And I think for all of the songs I picked and the books I picked, like the song 100 Boyfriends and the book 100 Boyfriends are probably going to be the one that's like the most similar. And the other ones are probably not going to have much in common, if anything. So there's actually several lines in this song by Alice Long Yu Gao. The ones most on point would obviously be, I got 100 boyfriends all stuck in my bed. Even the first couple of lines, I'm so rude and you like it, your kink I invented, could be related to this one. Life's too short not to be kissed also fits perfectly into this book. One of my favorite lines from this song is, you got 50k new followers in 2 weeks and not a single one of them has gold teeth. The 3 lines that I would say best describes 100 boyfriends the book is, I got 100 boyfriends all stuck in my bed. Life's too short to not be kissed. That's why I keep hot boys on my wrist. This will be more fun with the other songs. So I'm not gonna start my next book until tonight, probably when I'm reading in bed, but I thought I would do something fun to decide my next read. These are the 3 that are left to read, and this is a poetry collection, so I'm not gonna start this tonight anyway, so I'm gonna count this out for now. And then out of these 2, nonfiction, fiction, I wanted to use my little cards that I got for Christmas from Herdis. They have little prompts on them. Some of them are helps to like pick between a selection of books. So I'm gonna pick a card until I pick something that can be applicable to either one of these books. You'll see. Shuffle. Title with a word that rhymes with your name. So I could go for either Will or Wilma. Do either one will have that? Time is a thing the body moves through. Ripe. None of these work. I'm gonna pick another card. Will, Kill, Bill. Nature on the cover. Nature on the cover? I don't know exactly what this is. This is like geometric shapes. Could be nature. But I mean, pomegranate. Pomegranate's nature. Guess I'm picking this one. What's my next read?
Hunk of wood, bro. She look like a hunk of wood. We're not the Philharmonic. See, look, man. It's her already. Oh.
Is that enough? I don't know.
Neurologists found intermittent numbness in both arms as well as a hand paralysis.
I'm at the game. Who told you that it would be a good idea to put up superficial representations of a hypocritical season?
Good morning. It's the next day. I'm making some breakfast. This is already at work. I'll show you. I'm making an omelet. I think it's gonna be good. Today I'm going to be working at ARC, and I'm actually gonna be training a volunteer, so I don't know how much I'll be able to film, but it's exciting. I'll meet a new person. And I started reading Ripe by Sarah Rosetter a little bit yesterday, and I'll talk about it in a minute, and I'll play the song. But first I'm gonna eat some. I'm really proud for making myself like a proper breakfast, because I feel like it's so hard when you're alone. You know, it's so much easier when you're making like food for 2. So, well done, Wilma.
Ooh, caustic.
So I should probably tell you what Ripe is all about. Ripe by Sarah Rose Etter. I'm like almost halfway through and I haven't even told you what the book is about. So you follow this woman who lives in San Francisco and works in Silicon Valley at this tech company. And she just like hates it. She hates everything about it. She doesn't want to be there, but because of her like background with her family, she like makes herself be there because she needs to be successful for a lot of different reasons. And she calls everyone else who is so in this tech world like believers, who like believes in the technology. And she kind of like dreams about going into nature or submerging in dirt or like longs for a different life, but she's just so lost in like needing to be this person. She like fakes everything about herself. She does cocaine in the morning to like get her through the day basically. And the big like magical thing in this book is that ever since birth she's had this like black hole always close to her. It grows and it becomes smaller, and when she's anxious or terrified or scared or has bad thoughts, like it becomes bigger. So it's like a literal, you know, manifestation of like what you like a metaphor of like the black hole that consumes you, the darkness. It's a little bit too on the nose for me, like the way this book is. It feels very satirical, but almost like I feel like it's being serious. So I don't know, it's a little too on point, but almost like not on point enough. Like I wish it would either go like even more satire or it would be more subtle with what it's trying to say, because it's like just really strong, the critique, but it's written really well. I think the writing is really good. It's clear that Sarah Rose Etter is like a great writer. This is the first book I have read by her. So that's like what the book is about. And honestly, like not a lot has happened, even though I'm almost halfway through the book. It's very slow. There's really basically nothing happens. She's just going to work, dreading, faking her life with her friends. This boyfriend that she is clearly not letting herself commit to or open up to. She's just like lacks intimacy or transparency in like every part of her life basically. It's like difficult to read about because it's like so dark, and it's structured so that every second chapter is like a definition. This one is work, and that tells you the definition of work. And then the chapter goes on to say like stories about how work in her life or how it applies to it, or we learn something about her past. And then the next chapter is like taking part in her day, whatever is going on in now time. So it's like a lot of history from the past, and it just makes the book feel very slow as I'm reading it. I want her to go into the black hole that's following her. I want her to go inside and see what's inside. And my fear is that the book, not a lot is going to happen throughout the book, and then in the end, she's going to go through the black hole and it's kind of going to be the end. I think it's unlikely that it goes that way, but I really feel like I need something to happen at this point. It's dragging a lot, and I'm enjoying it, but I'm not feeling the love that I feel like I should feel for this book. Like a lot of people like really love this book, and I've just heard a lot of hype, and I'm wanting to be on the hype train. Obviously, I want to love it. It's not doing the thing that I wanted to do, but it's also kind of just a little funny, all the scenarios and the liners and stuff. I tabbed one thing on the work tab. I'm not sure why. I'm gonna read you this one part because I thought it was kind of good and funny the way it's written. This is a conversation between the dad and the mom from her past. It says, "We're about to close on the quarter and we've got to move the needle," my father said, his mouth full of cheap steak. "We need a win-win before they move the goalposts," my mother said. "I'm getting fucked from every fucking angle here, even with the low-hanging fruit." "Fuck these fucking fuckers," my dad says. "You don't need to boil the ocean here. It's not your fault they're churning." I imagine a football field, an orchard, the blue sea, a tub of butter. So it's like she's using the words that the parents used for this business stuff, but what she hears is nature words or stuff like that. Like I just thought this passage was nice. So that's how I'm doing on the book. I'm gonna play you the song Ripe that inspired me to read this book. It's called Ripe by Flavia. This is the song.
Yeah, the boy's been crying, 'cause my mind's been flying to the other side of the street. No need to go to work, 'cause I'm working on your body, hold you up, lay you down, staying up till the morning, work hard in the sheets. We could stay here
So that's the song. It's, I guess, about being bisexual. Very gay. This not very gay. We'll see what line I pick from this song to describe this book. It's gonna be more difficult. I made some caramelized onion, mushroom, blue cheese burgers. I'm excited to try it. Yum! So I finished the book. Herdis got sick, so they went to bed early. So I'm trying to be a little quiet in my review. I'm happy I read this. I'm glad I know what the hype is about. What I will say is that it wasn't what I thought it was. There was nothing in this book that shocked me at like any point. I wish it just had like one twist or turn or like something that surprised me, you know? And it just didn't, which is really disappointing because I was reading it so intensely in the evening. I think I got into it, even though there were so many scenes I didn't like, so many uncomfortable moments, like the way she just like puts on this other self or like suppresses all of her feelings, and when she decides to not be her authentic vulnerable self. But you know, like it's difficult to read about, and also like the scenes from her growing up and her relationship with her mom and dad is also just like not fun to read about. So frustrating things that happen like with the people that she works with, also just like ugh. And there's this one scene where they're at this party and there are this like all these exotic animals in cages. It's also just like really sad. You just late stage capitalism at its worst. A lot of depictions of like homeless people. There was like talk of like a virus happening, so it was kind of like a little bit COVID referential. I think what is interesting about this book is like the discussions and thoughts of like how much is you and how much is like because of society and capitalism, and how much power do you really have in that. Because I kept thinking like reading perspectives like this makes me feel like, well, you can just do something else. Like this person has options, you know, they can just choose another job, or she can do that, but she doesn't. But I can't judge her because of her upbringing, the way her parents viewed working and viewed love, and everything is so skewed that it's like she doesn't feel like she has any options, you know? So it's like that feeling of like I'm so upset and frustrated at the main character because you could fix this, but she doesn't, and it's like it drives me nuts. And instead she just like pushes herself to the breaking point. But it's like, isn't that also like what capitalism does to people? You know, you wake up one day and realize what you've become, what you allow, and you have to stare down into the pit at yourself, at your own choices, at the ways in which you have been cunning and stupid and false and wretched to keep up with the world around you. How does anyone bear themselves? How can anyone stare into the darkness corners of humanity and return to the office, enter the meeting room, and deliver the presentation? How do we all just keep working? Which I think represents a lot of what the book was doing quite well. There's just two lines in this that I thought was really good. I imagine millions of people stripped nude, their bare bodies shivering in the harsh blue air of the internet. And later down that page, I imagine a cut oozing data and information, the blood digital and blue. So it has good writing, it has really good writing. And I was on board, you know, by the end. But I just is not my type of read, I guess. I wanted a lot more. I wanted something different. I wanted some surprises. I wanted it to not be so on point. The line from the song, Right, by Flavia, that best describes this book is, I would say the most is like the first line of the lyrics, which is ripe for the picking even when I'm not in season, but I'll give you all the passions from my fruit. And in this lyrics, it's like interpreted in like a sexy way, but if you interpret that in like a capitalist way, I think it's pretty on point, to be honest. If not that, I would go for if we get tired, switch to battery, going nonstop, in the context of not in a sexy way. Just in a capitalist way. So excited to pick up a new book tomorrow. I'm tired, gonna feed the bunnies and then go to bed. I think it's the 3-body problem. Just now, it was raining like crazy. It's a little calmer now. You should have seen the tree. Hello, it's the next day. So I didn't give this a rating yesterday, but I'm gonna think a little more on it. I think maybe it's a 3.5, but this is also 3.5, but they're different and I have different feelings about them. Very confusing when it's just numbers. I'm gonna pick up this now. It's like a very short, super short poetry collection called Dear Azula, I Have a Crush on Danny Phantom by Azula Diabji and Jackson Neal. So it's like a co-written poetry collection, also queer. Deborah said on the back, the blurb, Dear Azula plunges the reader into the desolate nostalgia of struggling to find one's place in a world that has no vacancies for authenticity. Neil and Diabji's masterful transcendence through the popular animated form shows that identities that often live in otherness have always found a way to shapeshift into royalty. Despite the blind eye of media and representation, this omnipresence and resilience pulses through each poem, forcing the reader to redefine love and its imagined limits. So I think it's kind of like a little bit about, you know, seeing yourself in like these like fictional characters of cartoon shows, like growing up and stuff. And I love watching cartoon shows, so I feel like this was like perfect for me. And I'm excited to see something like that explored in poetry. Like, I think it's gonna be very interesting. I'm reading this book because of the song Danny Phantom, super cool non-binary artist called Medusa, and intersex artist actually, I think. And here's the song. So I was originally going to read just like a Danny Phantom comic for this, but I thought, when I found this, I'm like, yes, perfect. So I'm going to do this today. Chances are I'll probably be reading this by tonight. Yawns. So I'm slowly working my way through this, but I'm really, really loving it so far. I feel like it's like perfect for me. It's just every single poem I'm like highlighting and writing a lot. Well, the pink parts mean something that relates to the show that the poem wants to highlight. And the yellow is just like lines or sentences that I really like. And then I have like some of my own reflections regarding the shows. So it's very like for Gen Z, like I would say my age, between 20 and 25, maybe like somewhere in that age range, because every single poem is like focused on something that the writers are like relating to characters in a specific show for whatever reason, and often through like a queer lens. And I just love reading about that because I love watching cartoons, and like I feel like it's so healing to see the queerness within older cartoons that you really used to love, or see how that you could relate to those characters through like a queer lens for whatever reason. Like it's just like really good and fascinating. And the ones that we've had so far, the first one is obviously Danny Phantom, and then we have Kim Possible. I mean, the way all lesbians are just like obsessed with Shigo obviously. There needs to be a poem about that. There's several from Avatar: The Last Airbender and several from Teen Titans. So I watched one episode of Danny Phantom, and then I watched one episode of Teen Titans, because Teen Titans I didn't watch that much. I watched a little bit of Teen Titans Go with my little brother, who's like way younger than me, Generation Alpha. So it's like different. So I watched an episode of Teen Titans, and yeah, it was really good. I'm like, should I keep watching this? But I feel like it didn't quite let me in on what this poem is about as much. But I think Teen Titans is the only show in this, or like cartoon, that I haven't watched. Next, I'm gonna read Shrek, and then we have Mulan, Doi, The Emperor's New Groove, which is like one of Harit's favorite movies. Another Teen Titans, The Lion King, The Incredibles, and the last one, The Avatar: The Last Airbender. So all of these are just like shows that I watched and really loved as a kid, and I feel like this is just like not only the theme of it, but the combination of all the different things. Like, just, I think it's gonna be a 5-star, and the poetry's good. It's really good. Excited, just really loving the process of this, but I'm doing it slowly, like really enjoying it, reading it several times. It's a good time. So I just read this poem called Beast Boy, which is inspired by Teen Titans, and it kind of has like a little decolonial, anti-capitalist, indigenous themes to it, in my opinion, but I'll read it to you. I came from the forest wet, red. I sprouted gills and crossed 3 rivers. In the night I wove silk webs. I'm every beast that catches my eye. Rams burst from my back, glottal and bleating. Serpents slit my throat like silver ribbons. Came from creatures slick-skinned and yellow-eyed, so I shapeshift by mapping my bloodline. Even the insects and I are tied by generations. I know all species by name. I call the trees my kin. Whoever trespasses the animal kingdom trespasses me. You think me cruel, what scares you more, the venom or the beak? What you hear or what you see? You make me rich with fear. When I close my 20 eyes, the faces that haunt me are your kind. CEOs who boil rivers cheap, shark skin oligarchy, investors, wealthy men with skin so white it glows, meat. Bring me the man who paid for this apocalypse, and I will teach him what it means to be a beast. In the ring of fire, I will dare him to say my name, watch as I assume his form. His hand on his throat, his eyes watching his eye, I'm just the mirror violence passes through. Ancestors of Night Caw and Red Beak make me as wicked as this one who ignites his house with a family inside. Make me a creature who always survives. I think it's interesting. It's good. It's because it's based on like Beast Boy, who's like this animal shape-shifting creatures, a boy, shape-shifting boy in Teen Titans, and it's eerie to read because it's filled with like close rhymes. So it feels like it should flow, but it doesn't really. But I really like it. Yeah, and I like the themes. And it's like clear. This one I felt like the message was more clear than some of the others. But there's still like levels. And I like that. So, I finished it, and I loved it. I loved it a lot. It was just like that perfect place between queerness, nostalgia, the cartoons, and the characters, and where it meets like familial strife, but also love. It was also about like family and friendships and identity. It was beautifully written, and I was so curious, and I was thinking about this, like which author has written which poems, or like whether they've collaborated, and a lot of them were actually quite like decolonial, and was also talking about nature and these sort of things. Like there was just like a mix of a lot of different stuff, and it's literally just 30 pages, like it's so short, but I spent all day reading this pretty much. I was watching some like of these cartoons and doing research on like the characters, and I was just like, I had so much fun digging into this. It was just really good. I am making mushroom risotto now for dinner. I'm watching some Drawfee, but I just really wanted to come on here and talk about this because I loved it. It's a 5-star. I feel like I'm entering my poetry era now. It's taken like a while to figure out like what type of poetry I like, because a lot of time I feel like people are just like, oh, this is amazing, and I read it and I'm like, I'm not getting the thing that everyone's getting, you know? Like I felt that way with Ocean Young, but this, amazing. I think I like it when it gets a little silly, like with Death by a Sex Machine, is that what it's called? Like it has this like weird kind of cyborg fantasy element, but it's like so human, and like this one is also like incorporates the story of like these cartoons and characters and their storylines like into it, and also kind of like sometimes inserts yourself into like their position, or you loving that character, or a storyline. Like it's just like, it's so fun and also really, really well written and deep, and I loved it a lot. So I recommend this. I also love like when the gays and the lesbians do stuff together. I love seeing like that collaboration and where those identities and experiences meet. This was just really cool. I highly recommend it. I was also stalking these two people on Instagram a little bit because I was really curious about their lives, and they both seem really cool. So happy I just randomly found this because I was doing this video and looking for books with Danny Phantom in the title. Just so random. Really excited about this. This is how my mushroom risotto is doing. Usually I'll try to like use a recipe, but I'm kind of winging it, so I hope it's good. Finding the line from the song Danny Phantom that fits this book is just so hard, because the song, one of my favorites. I love this song. I think the lyrics are so clever. I know it all by heart. But it's about being old and dealing with eating disorders and drugs, and being sick and old is like not cool. It's not aesthetics anymore, you know? It's quite a dark song, and this book is just very different. So I'm trying to not use the title of the song to describe the book, because that would feel like cheating. So we're gonna not do that, even though I did that in the last 2 books. I would say hopping on the elliptical or hitting up my digital, maybe, or because I'm indestructible, body electric. Those are the 2 that I can find that are closest, but they're so different. It doesn't describe the book, but the closest. It's starting to look pretty good. We have 1 more book to go. I might start tonight. I might start tomorrow. It's one long 150-page essay. So, we'll see. I'm gonna eat now. So, friends, today's been quite a bit. Sundays are my cleaning days, which means change the bunny toilets, take out the trash, vacuum. I also did dishes today, and that seems like not that much, but it's 2 o'clock and I've been doing it since early this morning, so I'm like tired. I'm done. I still need to shower today, but I thought I'll take a break and read some in this book. This is gonna be gone for a few days now, so I sent them off on a journey on the train this morning, which should mean it'll leave me a lot of personal time to read, but we'll see. I started this yesterday evening. I made it to page 6 before I was like, I'm not grasping this as much as I should, so I been reading this a little bit. I've been reading this for months, and it's going slow because it's an anthology, but I'm finally nearing the end, so I thought I would take opportunity of reading a nonfiction to read this in the evening, which means that I do need to dedicate a little bit more time to this. Actually, I'll be right back. So far, we're only on page 6, but it reminds me a little bit of this book, Reverse Cowgirl, which I have not finished. It's another book that I started. I made it to page 27. Also, autofiction. I found this in this book. Isn't that fun? This one, I started it and I wasn't a huge fan of it. It seemed kind of like aimless. Memoir meets writing just for the sake of writing, which I'm sure feels very nice for the author, but I'm not sure I like to read it. And I think this has a similar vibe, but a little different. So I'm wondering if I've done the mistake of buying 2 books that are kind of in the same similar genre, and I'm gonna struggle through both of these, or I'm hoping that I push through this, push through it. I'm on page 6. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I read this, end up really loving it, and then I'll be more excited to pick this one up. And I love that one too. Time is the Thing a Body Moves Through, an essay by T. Fleischman. Love that title. This cover, very indifferent about it. But this whole thing is one essay, so there are absolutely no chapters whatsoever. So I'm reading this book because of the song Body Move by Dissy. I want to say Ditzy. Dissy Faye has Body Move in the title. This is the song. So that's the song. Anyways, if I finish this, it will be the first nonfiction I have read this year that is not purely poetry, which means I'll be very impressed with myself, but also disappointed because I had so many good ones on my list. I have so many good ones on my list that I'm dying to get to, but I'm struggling to make time for it, to make headspace for it. Maybe this could be a transition book. So it's quite a few hours later. And I've only read like 40 pages because I got really distracted by this summer challenge that this queer bookstore in Malmö, Sweden did called Page 28. I've been there before with you. And they put up this like, read these 25 books in basically the summer across 2.5 months and get 1 free book from us. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that challenge. It's like a bingo board. So you have to do all of them to win the free book, and 25 books in 2.5 months is gonna be pushing it a little bit for me, but I can definitely do it. And it's very specific prompts, and so it will like alter my whole summer reading plans, possibly including vlogs, unless I were supposed to do those on top of these books. But I've been like going through all the books I have physically and the ones I have ordered through ARC Books, and possibly ones that I already like downloaded, like ebook format, and maybe some ARCs and stuff, and seeing like what I can fill in with all these prompts. And so that took several hours, but I got really into it. Got really sidetracked, which is something like I can do on a day like this, like Sunday. I'm not doing anything, and I like, yeah, just reveled in it. And it was really fun, but also not what I was plotting for today. But I have leftovers in the fridge, and I'm not really gonna go out today, so might as well just stay in, enjoy touching books, working with books. This book, I'm on page 40. It is a nonfiction book following a summer in the life of Fleischman. They're non-binary, I believe. They're mostly with gay men friends and man lovers. They're kind of exploring art in different forms, like the impact of art, the meaning of art, how it has meaning and transforms perception of the world and yourself. And they're specifically obsessed with this one artist that I'm now forgetting the name of, with the last name Gonzalez Torres, which lived in the second half of the 20th century and died of AIDS. And I don't know his art that well, but I did like a little bit of research for it, so I have like a visual context of what his art looks like, which actually was really helpful in the context of this book because Fleischman talks a lot about this artist and art in general. But it also follows 2 storylines. One where they pull out text and stuff that they've written while they were sort of dating their best friend Simon, but they're not really dating anymore. And right now Fleischman is dating this person called Jackson, and that's sort of what's happening this summer in now time, but we're still getting snippets of the past, their relationship with Simon, how Simon was kind of like a photographer, sort of, and Fleischman is a writer, and they were both really obsessed with ice, and so they would kind of like collaborate and do these trips centered around ice, and yeah, it's very interesting, and it has like a lot of text about like art and specific installations and histories of like these people interacted, and some stuff that the author has done with this information or reflections they have on it, but also some things that they're doing here now. We get snippets from their past. It's very like a mishmash of all these different things together, but I'm enjoying it. It's a little more slow, and I'm definitely highlighting stuff that I'm finding like nice to read about and just really enjoying. So I'm curious to see where it goes. Like, it could definitely be a 5 stars so far, who knows, but it's a little hard to like follow timeline of stuff, and there's not much like plot wise. It's just more like rumination and learning things and interesting philosophical questions that are being explored through art and relationships. So that's my update on the book. I have decided that I want to read to page 75 today, and then read the last 75 pages tomorrow, and then I can finish this vlog tomorrow. Good so far, better than I thought. Some books just need you to like sit down and properly read them and invest time in them for you to like love it as it is, or see it as it is, or like get into it, you know? Exciting. I think I'm gonna watch a movie tonight. A movie Hedis would never watch. Could be fun. This is what I've decided to watch tonight. Bodies, bodies, bodies. You guys, you'll never believe this. So literally, I just told you I'm watching the film Bodies, 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 right? Which I didn't even know about. I just saw it was like horror-y type of film that was not horror enough for me, not make me watch it, because I'm also a scaredy cat. So I decided to just watch it tonight, because also I know Hedis is not going to want to watch it. And then I start it, and the first song that comes on is Daddy as Fuck, which is also a song that's on the playlist, which is the whole theme of this vlog, is, you know, reading books that have the same titles as songs from my playlist, this vibe. And this song, Daddy as Fuck, is also on my playlist. What are the chances?
They're not as. Your podcast, Alice. What is your podcast about? Hanging out with your smartest and funniest friend. Did you just groan? No. When I said hanging out with your smartest and funniest friend. Like that. Like that. You just did it again. No, I didn't. First of all, a podcast takes a lot of work, okay? You have to organize the guests, do a Google Calendar, and you build a following. It takes a long fucking time, and I've been working on it for a while.
The way these characters respond to people getting killed is absolutely unhinged.
No, they're not. They're almost like a courtroom
Hello.
type drama type thing.
Like a courtroom drama.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of
Are you following me?
no. It reminds me a lot of White Oleander. Because I think it's got that you're really rooting for this, like the young, point of view of a young girl. You're really rooting for them, and then these kind of things keep happening. Like difficult things keep happening to her. I don't, with this bit, I didn't like as much. It ended up being 5 stars for me because I was just like, I was so invested in it. Like it'd been a while since I.
So it's a new day, and Ella was being really clingy in the kitchen this morning. She was like following me everywhere and just like sitting next to my legs, cleaning herself, like being all adorable. So obviously I had to give her treats to encourage the behavior. But today I have been dilly-dallying with loads of different stuff, when it's just one of those days where you're just like doing this on the computer, doing this in the home, blah, blah, blah. mostly productive, but it feels unproductive. Other than that, I made a little graphic for basically all the books I'll be reading this summer because of the page 20 challenge that I found. So I made a stack of all the books that I have that fits the prompts, which could actually be really helpful for me to like get through some of the books that I have on my physical TBR or like digital TBR as well, of books that I've been meaning to read but still haven't gotten to and have been there for so long. So I'm using this as like a challenge for me because it's fun. I love challenges. I'm a Capricorn. What do you mean? I love to achieve things. Also for fun, and also if I complete it all, I get a free book, which is just a bonus. I'll show you my little graphic. So here's my little graphic that I made on Canva. There are 3 prompts that I don't know what to read. It is local author. Main romance is female and male. And here is a book without romance. So I'm thinking book without romance, and this one I could just kind of see if the book fits when I have read it because I have more queer books than just these. And then I made little stars on the ones that I have physically or digitally already, which is excellent. And then local author, I'm a little confused because there's some Swedish books and Norwegian books that I've been really meaning to read, and I am Swedish and Norwegian, but I live in Denmark and there are no like real Danish queer books that I want to pick up. So maybe I'll do like a local comic artist or something that I've got at the comic convention that I was at recently or something like that. But I'm going to leave the graphic like this. I'm going to take some pictures of the books that I already have. These are the books that I already have. Yeah. I think I'm also going to go maybe for like fika or something. Ooh. But I didn't manage to read my 75 pages yesterday. I'm still really enjoying the book, but I can't read it in the evening because I'm not absorbing the full meaning of everything that they're saying. So I think I'm planning on dedicate today to read some. If I finish it today, I don't know if that's possible. Okay, I might have gone to the thrift store, oopsies, and I got these 2 items, the skirt and this shirt. I don't have any skirt like this. I added my own belt. It's kind of a little bit like cottagecore, cowboy core. It has like these like lace up sides, which is not really me, but I'm trying to branch out in, you know, wearing what I want to wear and like changing up my style a little bit, you know, because I change all the time, and having like a variation of clothes to pull from is really helpful for me. But this shirt, I've been like really into wearing these type of shirts for a very long time now, and I'm growing out of it a little bit, so I really shouldn't be buying more. But I was thinking that I would make it into a crop top because this is like such a cute pattern. But I was thinking like with this skirt, what if I made this like a crop top? Maybe this length, not really a crop top, but like ends at the belly. Okay, I cut it. I think it's really nice. It's really cute. And I want to cut it shorter, but this is like the perfect length of, I get to raise my arms up as high as possible and no boobies are out. Ooh, cute. I can't wait to wear this with my Birkenstocks. It's gonna be nice. Anyways, I did not get to do as much reading as possible because the guy at the cafe I went to, the Bean and the Nomad, which is such a cute place. He's really chatty and wanted to chat with like every single customer that came in. And it's such a small place that you can't really, you know, sit somewhere more quiet. So I was like really trying to focus on my book, but I didn't do such a good job. And then a little while later, my mom called and I talked to her. So, you know, going out to a cafe for peace and quiet to read didn't quite work out the way I planned. I have now passed the mark of what I was supposed to read yesterday, but finishing this book doesn't look like it's gonna happen today. Yeah, it's past 6 o'clock, so it's a little late. I also got this tank top, which I think is really cute. It's like the perfect match between like femme and masc. I have a new obsession with tank tops. I can't explain it. I think they're just really nice. Okay, I did it. It's 1:30 and I actually finished the book today. I am so tired, but wow, was this a journey. Parts of this I really loved, like 5 stars. Parts of it I was just like, wow. And some of it was like 2 stars and I was like skimming it. It was just such a roller coaster. And so many different types of text and so many different ways of writing. And it's about relationships and anarchy and art and bodies and the self and writing and so many different forms of art. And it's just, I want to talk about this a little bit more tomorrow. I'll do a last little clip tomorrow about this book because I have so many thoughts and I'm scared that if I wait until tomorrow they're going to evaporate. But hopefully they will marinate in my dreams and I will be even more eloquent tomorrow. Tori Peters appears in the book, the writer, they're friends. It's a T for T love story in some ways. It's very trans, more than I expected. Also made a mistake. The author is not non-binary. They are non-identifiable, non-specified. So I don't even know what rating to give this. It's kind of one of those books that should be unrated, but I'm gonna sleep now. Oh my god, I'm gonna sleep. And I'll chat with you tomorrow. So, it's the next day, and I'm looking a little fresh, and the camera's tilted. It's okay. This book, I forgot probably most of it while sleeping. My thoughts, that is. I feel really strange about rating this because it is someone's personal inner workings, and it's poetry and personal anecdotes, and it's about relationships, and it's just like so many things in ones, and also like exploration of like certain art pieces and what they do, and you know, so it's just, it feels very personal and it feels so different. Like it has so many different parts, like the way I feel about the poetry parts and the personal anecdotes parts, and then when they go into like deep history about a certain art piece or artist, or it feels differently about all these different elements. And so rating this book as a whole feels very strange. There's this one part in the middle that I was just like not interested in at all, where they were talking about the public universal friend, and it goes on for 16 pages, just like smack dab in the middle, and I was just not a fan. Like, just not interested whatsoever. And it's so funny because at the end of that whole section, they say, I tried to tell a girl at a transgender queer party in Chicago about the public universal friend, but she seems either bored or offended. I can't tell which. And I literally wrote in the margins, this girl is me, I am she. Because that's just like how I felt, kind of. Like, it was such a strange piece to put in there, and I don't really understand what it relates to everything else. And I feel like if that was taken out, I would have rated it differently or felt differently about the book, because it didn't like come into play later. And it, yeah, I was waiting also for like there to be more writing about ice, because there was discussions about like our author and Simon bonding over like loving ice, but then all the way at the end there's these like small sections about just writing on ice. So I'm glad we got that. I parts of this I just like I loved. There was some just like really nice parts, and I think it's like very inspiring to read something like this, where it's very clear that Tammy has like written whatever they wanted to, like whatever they felt inspired to, and put it in a book. And I think it's like special to read something like that, where you can tell just like the author is just genuinely really interested in everything that they're saying and the subjects, and it's quite anarchist. And I think Tammy also has a relationship anarchy way with people that I think is very cool and inspiring. And at some parts I just felt like, oh my god, I'm really not living life enough, you know, like I'm 25, like I should be out there like doing more things. So I don't know, it was a very interesting read, and I'm very glad I read it. And I think it's cool to read sort of memoir like books that are different. I mean, this is one entire essay. I like that it didn't really get to like a certain point. There was no point in the story. It was just a lot of these like different tidbits. Usually I'm like, what was it all about? You know, and I want to answer. It's so funny how I can give one critique to one book and give the opposite critique to another book, and where it's like my critique or like my reflections on a book is just not consistent whatsoever. But I'm sure that's like relatable, where you want one book to have more answers and one to have less. I don't know, I've never not rated a book, but even like with these other books, like I kind of ended up rating both of these 3.5, but they're so wildly different, and it's such an arbitrary number that it makes me like feel bad about it, because how can a number like 3.5, even if it's a point something, encapsulate the way I felt about these books? It's just not possible. And like, I can't believe I'm having this reflection now, because before I was just kind of like throwing out numbers for books all the time, and sometimes I go to the books that I've rated like 5 stars, you know, in my history, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I thought this book was 5 stars, you know. And it's just like, it's kind of stupid. So maybe I was gonna give it like a 3.75, but the last 30 pages were like really nice. I really enjoyed the last 30 pages, and so I was like, maybe I should bump it up to a 4. I don't know, somewhere along there, I think. So, oh, I'm gonna do it again. Use the title of the song to describe this book. It'd be so cruel if I didn't let my body move. Okay, that's it. That's the line from Body Move that I would use to describe this book. Thank you so much for joining me for this little reading vlog. I hope you like this fun, stupid theme. I'm gonna link my playlist down below. I was gonna do like a whole analyze the playlist type of section in this vlog, because I did that earlier, and it was so weird and fun to see what genres this playlist was. I didn't know you could do that, but it was like a fun website where you could put a link to like the playlist, and then they would like do like an analytics of the playlist, which I thought was really fun. I didn't do that. Turned out it would be way less about the playlist and more about the books, which is, I mean, anyway, what you're here for. But if you like hyper pop, electric, girl pop, what was it? Escape room? That was like one of the genres. I was like, what is this genre? Music. Then check out my playlist. It will be down below. And let me know if you read any of these books, if you want me to do something like this again. Give me recommendations for like the prompts that I couldn't find any books for the page 28 summer book bingo. That's it, my friends. I hope you have an amazing, brilliant day. I will chat with you soon. Wishing you all the best. Thank you again for being here. Mwah. Goodbye.